What you are looking at right now took me about 45 minutes to build the first time. Not because the code is complicated. Bootstrap actually makes this simple once you understand it. The problem is most tutorials skip the why and just give you code to copy. So in this tutorial we're going to do something different. I'm going to show you exactly how Bootstrap Navbar system works under the hood, how the collapse system thinks, why the hamburger button needs those specific HTML attributes, and the exact mistakes that break it. By the end, you'll be able to build any navbar you see on any website. And by minute 8, you'll know the first navbar bug and how to fix it instantly. Let's start from zero. Here is what happens when you build a navbar without thinking about mobile. I've written this nav with basic CSS flexbox. Totally reasonable approach, right? But watch this. I'm opening DevTools and switch to iPhone view. And here's what I have. I have a few links here and pricing doesn't fit to this screen and contact is missing at all. Depending on your audience, somewhere between 50 and 70% of your visitors are on mobile devices. Bootstrap Navbar component solves exactly this problem, and it does it with just a few HTML classes. But here is the thing. If you don't understand how it works, you cannot customize it, and you definitely cannot debug it when it breaks. Before we make anything responsive, let's build the simplest possible navbar. No columns, no hamburger, just the skeleton. Here is my index.html file. I already imported Bootstrap CSS file. Here I have some styles, but nothing special. Simple styles for my page. Let's collapse it back. And let's pay attention on our body section. I am starting with a nav element. This is semantic HTML. We could use a div, but nav tells the browser and screen readers and search engines this is navigation. That matters for accessibility. Bootstrap's navbar class turns this into a flex container. And here we have background light color. Within the nav element we have a div with class container fluid, which is an inner wrapper for our navigation. Inside we have navbar brand, that's your logo or site name. And then we have an ordered list element with class navbar now and flex row class that keeps items in a horizontal row. And here we specify the gap between the link elements. Here we have the list of our links. Each link is wrapped with li element that has class nav item, and each link also has class nav link. The first one is active. This is our home page, and here we have a few other links below. Let's go and see how it looks in browser. So here is how it looks in browser. Let's resize it. Let's make it wide and narrow, and we can see that our links are not working as needed. They are going below our logo. That's exactly what we are fixing in the next 60 seconds. Here is where Bootstrap's magic happens. So here I added navbar-expand-lg class to the nav element. This class tells Bootstrap, show the full horizontal navbar on large screens and above. On anything smaller, collapse it. The breakpoints in Bootstrap are the next one. Small at 576 pixels, medium at 768 pixels, large at 992 pixels, and extra large at 1200 pixels. So navbar expand large means at 992 pixels and above. Expand below 992 pixels collapse. Now I need to tell Bootstrap what to collapse. For this div wrapper, I changed class that was container fluid to just container. The difference is that container is a max width wrapper and it makes the content centered and with padding. And here I wrap my nav links in a div with two classes, collapse, which initially hides the element, and navbar collapse, which Bootstrap uses to find and animate the menu. Here I also added ID navbar content that will be targeted by the hamburger button in the next stage. And the last change that I made to the previous section was adding this new MS Auto class that pushes links to the right. Now let's go to the browser and see what we have. So on desktop, we will see full links, and on mobile, they are gone. We've lost our navigation on mobile, which is exactly where we want to go next. And then in the next section, we will add hamburger button to show our hidden links on mobile. In this next section, we are going to add hamburger button. So here is our button. I already added below the logo of our site. And I opened this file in two windows for you to explain the contents of this button element. So let me expand this explanation here I have, and let's go from one to another. The first one is class navbar-toggler. It adds styles to this button to look as we get used to it. The next one is type button. It prevents form submission. Then we have database toggle, which equals collapse. This is the instruction. It tells Bootstrap JavaScript when this button is clicked, toggle something. The next one is database target that equals navbar content. This is the address. It points to the element with ID navbar content. Remove this and Bootstrap doesn't know what to toggle. Let's find this ID here. We have this ID. We already added it here. And this ID on the collapse div, this is the mailbox. The button delivers the click event here. Change the ID, change the target. If they don't match, nothing works. And here we have a few more properties needed for screen readers. Let's go to the browser and see what we have. So here is our page. Let's inspect and see whether we have our hamburger. Yes, here it is. Let's click on it, and here we have our links below. Now let's change the ID of our element. Let's go back to the code. And for example, let's add extra T here and save our file and go back to the page. Let's refresh the page and try to click on it. Nothing happens. So in this section, we are going to improve mobile UX. So here is the result of our changes. Let's examine what changes were exactly made. Let's expand our styles block. And here is the first block where we increased touch targets. So this block of styles is about paddings between links. And Bootstrap default nav links have pretty small padding, which is fine on desktop where you have a precise mouse, but on mobile, your users have fingers, fat, imprecise, glorious human fingers. The Apple Human Interface guidelines recommend a minimum touch target of 44 by 44 pixels. Bootstrap's default don't quite hit that, so I'm adding more padding to the nav links. Here I also added this visual separator between brand row and links. Here we have this separator and separators between links. And the next mobile UX improvement is full width links on mobile with a bottom border to separate each item visually. And there is a small change in HTML. So let's collapse our styles and find this small change here, this one. The area current page attribute on the active link is for screen readers. It tells assistive technology this is the current page. The active class handles the visual styling. Use both every time. Now let's look at three patterns you'll see on basically every SaaS product. I'm going to show this as quick demos rather than typing every character because the concepts matter more than the code here. So here for nav element I changed the class of navbar to be dark, navbar dark, instead of navbar light. So this class changes the text and icon colors to white, so they are visible on dark backgrounds. And also background dark sets the background to Bootstrap's dark color. Let's also open our pop-up. As we can see, the navbar goes dark with white text and white hamburger icon. And rule of thumb: dark navbars for SaaS and tech products, light navbars for content sites, blogs and e-commerce. There is no law, but that's the convention most users expect. Let's examine another enhancement, which is called transparent and solid on scroll. This is everywhere. Stripe does it, Linear does it. What is all about? When I click on hamburger button, the navbar starts transparent, then becomes solid when the user scrolls down. Let me scroll down, and here we have solid Bootstrap navbar. The technique is simple. Start transparent in CSS, then on scroll past 50 pixels, add the class that makes it solid. Bootstrap handles the layout, our tiny bit of JavaScript handles the behavior. And please write in comments whether you like such a technique or not. So let's go to our code. Here is the section of styles needed for this behavior, and also we need a bit of JavaScript. So let's scroll to JavaScript section. For now I have all the elements in one HTML file, then everything will be separated, and here is the piece of JavaScript code. And the next improvement will be the right aligned CTA button. Every SaaS navbar has a CTA button, usually get started or sign up, aligned to the right. And let's examine how to build that layout with Bootstrap utilities. So here we have these buttons in our navbar for mobile version. Let's increase window and we can see our buttons here aligned to the right. Let's check our code. The MS Auto on the nav list pushes it to the left. Technically, it fills all available space on the left side, which pushes the button to the right. This is per CSS flexbox. Bootstrap's utility class names just make it readable. MB2, MB large 0, margin bottom of 2 units on mobile, 0 on large screens. On desktop, the button sits beside the nav links and needs no top spacing. On mobile, the button stacks below the links and needs some breathing room. And MS large 3, margin start of 3 units on large screens only. On mobile, the button is full width and doesn't need a left margin. This is the power of Bootstrap's responsive suffixes. You are writing mobile styles and desktop overrides simultaneously, right in the class names. So let's remove these classes here and see what will happen. Okay, now we see the difference. Let's get it back. And let's check our new buttons. They exist here. Here we have our two buttons, sign in and start free. Here I have another function added. It is used to auto-close menu on mobile when a nav link is clicked. Let's check this behavior. So when I click on hamburger button, then I click on nav link, and as we can see, this navbar disappeared. Let's comment this piece of code and save this file. And let's check again. Here I click on navbar hamburger and let's click on product. So after clicking on it, this navbar is still shown, which is not correct. So let's return back our function here and save it. Testing like, does it look okay in my phone, is not testing. Here is how to do it properly. So let's open DevTools. This is where you should be testing every responsive layout you build, not just loading the page on your phone and hoping. Now let's toggle device emulation, and here is I already picked iPhone 14 Pro Max. Now I am checking the navbar. Hamburger is visible. Let's tap it. Menu opens. Links are reachable. Now let's switch to another device. Let's pick device with narrow screen and check again. So it's still good. Now let's switch to iPad Air that has 820 pixels width. This is above the 768 middle breakpoint, but below the 992 large breakpoint. So we are still showing the hamburger. Is that the experience you want for tablet users? If you have room for 5 nav links at 820 pixels, maybe you should use navbar-expand medium instead of navbar-expand-large. Now is the time to decide. Now let's rotate. Here is the button. So now the width jumped to 1180 pixels and full navigation is shown. Now here is the most important test, and almost nobody does this. Let's manually change the width to 991 pixels and click enter. Hamburger is visible. Now let's change to 993 pixels. Full navigation links are visible. Hamburger is gone. 993 pixels. 2 pixels, that's the edge. Any layout bug you have will show up right here, not at 375 or 1440. Those are the easy cases. Bootstrap is not doing anything complicated at 375 or 1440. It's doing something at 991 and 993. That's where you test. Test at 991, test at 993. Also test at 767 and 769. If you have any medium breakpoints in your styles, the bugs live at the edge, not at the extremes. From this one to this, both are navbars. One is liability, one is production ready. So now we have a fully responsive Bootstrap 5 navigation menu built from scratch. We started with the basic navbar structure, added branding with a logo and site name, created a mobile-friendly toggle menu, and finished with a clean, responsive navigation that works across different screen sizes. If you'd like to follow along or use the exact landing page from this tutorial, I've attached all of the source files to my article. You'll find the link in the video description and also in the first pinned comment below. Feel free to download the project, experiment with it, and customize it for your own websites. If this video helped you, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps me create more tutorials like this. And if you are learning Bootstrap, make sure to check out the other videos on the channel. I'm going to create videos covering responsive layouts, cards, grids, forms, navigation components, and many other practical Bootstrap techniques that you can use in real project. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye.